I was reading Edgar Allan Poe, and he had this story in there. If you know what I'm talking about, there's like this detective story that was in there.
Bomani, you've modernized Frankenstein, okay? And now you've modernized this idea of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Juice meets Lord of the Rings. That's what I like to call it as. That's the best way I could think about it.
How much of that is your love for these stories, and how much of that is being smart about the business side of creation?
Man, I wish I could say I was smart with the business but I'm not. Like, I'm too new to the game to kind of understand what the hell's going on. Like, with everybody that's moving in this business, But so really, it's just things that I love. Like, I love Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Like, I love that book. I love that story. It moved me, and the same way Tolkien, like, moved me with The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Like, I loved those books. I loved those movies. And I even loved the animated movie of The Hobbit that they did. Smeagol scared me in that. And I loved Juice as a kid, watching that movie. So, I love both of those things. So they just kind of collided in my head. And so I just wrote the script or whatever and shot a promo for it. But I just love them.
You say you're new to the business, but you're not new to loving a story, and you've been an audience member, and it sounds like a very passionate audience member.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but I can only speak for myself. I don't know if people will like the same, like, people will be thinking about those two things and be like, I think these two things should be together, right? Like, I don't know if anyone's even like, if that's what an audience member is asking for. I know it's something that I'm asking for that I, think is interesting. But yeah, it's just, I have to say it came completely from just like my own passion for it. Like, I just love both of these things, and I want to, I want to show everyone else that this is cool, like,
Why is it important for you to create your own original versions of these stories?
A lot of my favorite filmmakers, that's what they're like, that's what they do. They have their heroes and they recreate it. I remember when I was reading, before I read Sherlock, and I love Sherlock, those stories. I'm a big fan of those. I was reading Edgar Allan Poe, and he had this story in there. If you know what I'm talking about, there's like this detective story that was in there, and like, I really liked it. And then I just started reading Sherlock. I'd always wanted, but I picked it up, his body of the complete Sherlock, and the first story, he's talking about that detective from Edgar Allan Poe. And Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was already kind of just like, Sherlock wouldn't exist if it wasn't for that. You know what I mean? Like, that inspired me to do Sherlock Holmes, right? And then after I got done reading Sherlock, of course, I'm on this mystery kick. So who do I go to next? Agatha Christie. And in the first, like, Hercule Poirot novel, she head nods to him. She's just like, yeah, Sherlock Holmes, but I'm better, right? Like, and all these artists, like, that's what they're doing. Like, it's like they do this. They have their reference points and they have their heroes, and they love them so much. And to me, like, that was just, I was like, oh, that's how it works,
Right. And then you went to Raymond Chandler.
I did read Raymond Chandler. Yes,
So
I did Raymond Chandler. Exactly. Yeah. I forgot. I think it was The Big Sleep I read from his. Yeah, that book was awesome. But I also watched the movies and stuff. So it's like, yeah. But I just love that.
I have an anonymous quote that I found online. Mm-hmm. Hollywood was once a dream factory, but has now become a recycling center. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that?
I'll say this is like, I think I understand the energy of where that's coming from, and to a certain extent, it's it's true. But at the same time, when you start thinking about how many of a, like, I don't know, I guess when you're thinking about franchises, when there's like 8 movies in a franchise, then you can kind of be like, okay, so you're doing a lot here. So maybe I feel like that's where that energy is coming from, where you might feel that way. But I also think that it's a misunderstanding of what you're notching and a lack of knowledge of where it's coming from. It's just like, I think I just told you about my story with Sherlock. It's just like all these artists are, they're looking at people. Now, whether they reference it and tell you or not is a whole other thing, because there are artists who are constantly telling you, like, this is the, person. And there are some people who just don't talk about it at all, And so I think reference points are always a thing as an artist. I don't think you can get away from that.
Does it anger you to see so much content recycled, so many story ideas recycled?
No, I mean, it depends on, I guess, like as an audience member, it's always going to depend on the quality of it, right? Like, and banking on what I'm going to get my entertainment out of. Like, because there are some movies where it's it's plot driven. Like the excitement of this movie is going to be through the twists and turns of this plot. So like you are banking on me not knowing where this is going next. And then there are some movies where it's like, okay, I understand where this is going, but the excitement of what this character is going to say, or like the dialogue and like these other things, or the VFX or the world or whatever it might be, are what I'm banking my entertainment on, or what I'm getting out of it. So to me, when someone has a reaction like that, oh, I'm sick of seeing the same thing or whatever, that's just them saying, like, to me at least, that's just them saying, it was like, oh, well, then you want something that's like, I don't know, I guess plot driven or whatever. That's like an interesting plot that you can't figure out, maybe like a mystery or something like that. Like, I don't know what exactly it'll be, but that's what I feel like.
Why do we seek to be entertained?
I wish I knew the answer to that question, Some people say to be distracted from real life, but I don't know if that's necessarily always true, because some people live good lives and still want to listen to music and dance. I think it's just a form of, it's a form of expression, as much as it is you consuming something, but when it makes you feel something, it's like you also engage with it and like you get it. Like this movie get it, this song gets me. It's like that's a form of expression. You're expressing yourself that way. So that'd be one way to look at it, but I think that's a complicated question with a lot of answers,
Why is entertainment important?
Yeah, why is it important, huh? I don't know, like, whenever I try to think of life without art, or without entertainment, like it gets pretty boring, right? Like even, you sitting around like a coffee table and someone telling a story of like an old family member who's no longer with you, there's entertainment and treasure in that. I think it helps us in a lot of different ways, so.
Why angry black girl? Why not genius? Why not brilliant?
I've been asked about the title a lot. I wish I had an intellectual answer that I could give, but it really just was just like an emotional journey to like an emotional result of the story itself. Like I think that because my titles come pretty late so far, and this one came when I was at the tail end of writing this script, and then it kind of just came out, and it felt right. It felt alive, and it felt right. So I wish I had an intellectual answer for you, but I think like it's alive, like the pun intended, but like the title itself, it hasn't, it feels right. It has an effect. It means something different to different people. What it means, it's like so. And I think that's what you want from a title. You want it to mean something to you. You want it to have an effect. You want it to create an emotion. Like you want those things. But I'm not saying it just to be provocative. I'm just saying this is a story. A story is going to be experienced, and the title is a part of that experience.
When you were writing the film, what did you know you wanted Vicaria to be, and what did you want her not to be? Did you have a very clear definition of who she was?
Yes and no. I think humans we're very simple creatures, but we're also very complicated at the same time. And to try to bind us all into one thing, someone into one thing, I think is a mistake. I think people are a lot of different things, you know, given wherever environment or what they're reacting to, you know. So, you know, the only staple for me was that she was a smart girl. You know, that she definitely had wits, but you know, she can be not smart sometimes. You know, she can make decisions that aren't necessarily the smartest thing to do. And sometimes she can think she's smarter than someone else when she's not, you know, and she can be sad, she can be angry, she can be happy, she can be none of those things, you know, she can experience all those things. So to kind of, there was never a moment where I was like, you know, oh, she would never be, you know, sad, or she would never, you know, it's like, I don't think it works that way. Everyone experiences emotions like differently, but they experience them, you know.